This is the Engage Your Destiny podcast, where your destiny is our mission. Serving our active military, veterans, and families. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Engage Your Destiny podcast. I'm blessed to be the founder and CEO of Engage Your Destiny. And we have part 2 of Anna's story, where last week, I want to encourage you, if you haven't listened to it, go and listen to what Anna has walked through, her survivor story of sexual assault in the military, and really how God was working in the midst and in the shadows of everything she was going through. And today, we're going to get into the redemption of how her life was transformed and what God did through her. And now he's using her to go and touch and change the world. Let's get into it.
So you're in the midst of this. You've had multiple times where you're like afraid for your life, fighting for your life. Where are you at with God?
I'm far from God. Yeah. Not that God feels far away, but I'm far from God.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm saying, why did God let these things happen to me? If no evil is supposed to touch me, why did this happen? You know, and you're going through this and you're already alone. When you're deployed to overseas, you're in a foreign country, you don't understand what people are saying. Currency's different, the time's different. You can't obviously now trust the people that you came there with. And so God just felt very far away.
Yeah.
He was not something that was very present in that time of my life.
How old were you in the 7?
20.
20 years old. Wow. So
21. Yeah.
When did you start dating someone?
So I get home from deployment.
Yep.
And I use the term deployment lightly, not to take light away from people that have actually combat deployed.
Yeah.
That's important to point out. But
You were mobilized in
yes.
Europe. Yep.
So I come home from my deployment and I start seeing this guy. It was my birthday again. I was at the bar with my friends and I met this guy. And through this guy, we started having a relationship. A lot of things came out at the end of it. He ended up being a drug dealer. Did not know. Was dealing drugs out of my house. Through this mess, I was living off post at the time. I was a senior specialist, and so they had given me single rate BAH. The barracks were full. So they trusted me to live off base. Kind of started to spiral. I think a lot had stemmed from the sexual assault that I had. I just hadn't processed it yet. I lose my grandfather. A week later, I had to put my dog down. I go through a miscarriage. That stemmed into, I ended up getting arrested. Me and my ex had gotten into it, and neighbors heard and called the cops, and I got arrested for assault.
Wow.
Never been so much of a speeding ticket in my life. And I get locked up for a weekend for assault.
And were you assaulting him?
I was. He had come into my house unwanted.
Yeah.
And in the state of Texas, I didn't realize the rules at the time of when you're in a relationship with someone and they have things at your house for more than 30 days at a time, they can come and go as they please. And so when he didn't leave, I was refusing to leave.
Yeah.
I assaulted him.
Yeah. You beat him, hit him?
I did.
Hit him with a pan?
Yeah.
You did? A pan?
Yeah.
Wow. Good guess.
Yeah. And he was an ex-felon too, which was ironic. And they had arrested me. And so.
And not him?
No. So I had, on a 4-day weekend, this had happened. Happened the first day of a 4-day weekend.
It always happens on a 4-day.
Happened the first day of a 4-day weekend. So I had 72 hours in jail to talk to God. And to just talk to God about everything and process the loss. I went through a lot of loss at a very small period of time and had no time to process that loss.
So you're in jail. And are you in a cell with a bunch of other people, or are you by yourself?
I am by myself. I'm in a holding cell.
You're in a holding cell by yourself for 3 days. How did the conversation with God start?
I cried for about 2 out of those 3 days.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had that many tears in me.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in myself.
Shame.
I was like, why am I here? People like me aren't supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And that was my ego, right?
Yeah.
People like me aren't supposed to be here. Well, why am I so good that I can't be here? And so that was a monumental part of my life. And I remember getting out. I got out on a $3,000 bond.
Wow. You paid?
No, it was a PR bond. So it was paid.
Okay.
And then if I were to get arrested within a 2-year period for anything, they bring me back to jail and I forfeit that bond.
Got it.
So it was a PR bond. Praise God, right? Nothing came
Yeah.
out of pocket. I come back home. They give me a restraining order against this person.
So funny. And he attacked you. Yeah.
And so I'm just keeping my head down, pushing through, right?
Did the Army have any idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
I showed up on the blotter. Thankfully, it wasn't military police. It was civilian police, but it was embarrassing. And it was actually rumors that I had gone to jail and gotten a DUI and I was drinking and so it wasn't even the right thing, you know? It's just crazy how people talk.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of judgment when I got back to work because people thought now I'm an alcoholic and now I'm this terrible person because I got a DUI. And I was like, this isn't even what happened.
When the majority of you are alcoholics.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah.
And so through that, I sat down with my commander and I had mandatory anger management classes I had to go to. I had to go to ASAP, part of the program. At the time, it was an Army abuse program. I had to sit down with family advocacy. And so that was a really demeaning time in my life, especially going through all this loss, right? Like I had gone through a miscarriage and people were now putting me through anger management. It was just very demeaning in my life.
Where do you think the ball gets dropped in all these processes of not listening to someone's story and just trying to throw them into all this stuff to fix them?
I think it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I think when someone tells you their story, I think people need to be more genuine. Right? When you ask someone, how's your day? And they say, oh, my day's great.
Yeah.
They're having the worst day of their life.
Sure.
So I think it's both ways. I think my leadership failed me
Yeah.
as a female.
Yeah.
I think that even it not being related to the military in the time that I needed help and support, I think they failed me.
Huh.
And
And
I feel like if I was ever in that position and a soldier came to me about that and said, hey, I'm in this position, I would handle it so much differently.
Yeah. And were they all men?
Mhm.
Yeah. So how are you doing with like Father God and the whole man thing at this point?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
After my miscarriage, my eyes were really opened on that was also a why me, you know, why did that happen to me? I was in kindergarten and we had career day and, you know, and I said, I want to be a wife and a mom as a 4-year-old.
Sure.
Because that was what was modeled to me.
Yeah.
And so finally having that and then having that taken away was just horrible.
Yeah.
Just detrimental to my house. So I started drinking really bad.
Really?
My alcoholism got very, very bad. That was what was modeled to me by my dad. So I think that
Did you watch your dad drink?
I did.
So he did it openly.
My dad was very open with us with drinking too. Like, hey, if you want to have some, you know, alcohol is not bad. It's what you do with it. And so I was under that stigma for a long time. And then I realized that alcohol isn't bad if you just don't let it be bad. But it's also one of those things where I feel like if you are feeling convicted to not do something, to not do it.
Yeah.
And there was no accountability on his part. He would black out drunk in the middle of the floor and wake up the next day and claim he didn't know what happened. And it was like, do you remember like hitting me last night? Do you remember coming after me and putting a hole through the wall and
In rage.
hitting my mom in front of me and my brother? And you don't remember doing any of that? So it was one of those things where like alcohol was, okay, if I drink, I don't have to remember what happened to me. It's part of my story, right? And through all this loss and trauma and grief I'd gone through. And so that, and then from there, I think a big part of the sexual assault was I started to be very promiscuous in the Army. And I started to sleep around a lot. And it was one of those things where I felt like that was how you be seen from other people. And if somebody took this from me in such a way, like, it doesn't matter if I just keep giving it. And so that opened up a lot of insecurities and doubt in my mind because now you fit the mold of someone in the military, right? A female in the military. There's a big stigma behind barracks bunnies. People that get passed around, they hop from one person to the next. And so now I'm living that stigma, right? And I know better, and I know that that's not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Have you ever wondered how you can make an impact in the military? Have you ever sat back and said, man, I wish I would have served. I wish I could do more for this country. Well, today I want to call you into the fighting force. Guys, Engage Your Destiny is reducing suicide on military bases across the world, and we have 5 locations currently where we are doing direct ministry and follow-up with soldiers, and we have more bases that are opening up to us in New York, in Korea, in Kuwait, in places that I would have never even thought in my life could open up to us. And so that's where I'm making an appeal to you. This is only possible through donors and through the selfless sacrifice of you supporting our ministry on a monthly basis. I want to encourage you that benefactors as well as foundations have made our operational budget possible so that 100% of your gifts go directly towards soldiers in the military all over the world. When you partner with us, you're going to get one of our gift boxes, which is filled with some incredible treats that are going to bless your life, that you can wear, that you can show proudly, and that you can drink your coffee out of. So friends, come and join the fighting force, and let's advance this mission today.
I get to Korea, and I'm forced to be by myself.
Why?
I know absolutely no one.
Well, like how? Like people you didn't relate to, no friends?
Just no friends.
Yeah.
I was isolating. I was licking my wounds.
Yeah.
I saw it as a time to start over.
Yeah.
I saw it as a time to kind of learn myself again. So first I was at Camp Casey. I was at 210 Fires. I was working in the Brigade Division Fires. And then from there I went to Camp Humphreys, which is like the main hub.
Yep.
And I had a blessing of being offered a job to drive a 3-star general, be his executive admin.
Wow.
So for a year and a half I worked for him. And he filled the role of a father figure.
Really?
He did. He was a 3-star general. He was a Christian. He loved his wife. His son was a captain. He was one of the commanding officers at Fort Bragg, ironically. That's near where I was born.
Crazy.
And
How did he fulfill that father figure role for you in like a way that was appropriate?
he listened to me. He had never had a female soldier before. And I was driving for him. And I learned so much from him. And just the way that you treat people. And he cared about the females in the military. And he said, what is the biggest? He would ask me questions that male leaders are so high up, a 3-star general doesn't care about a sergeant, right?
Yeah.
So he would ask me questions about what we struggle with personally in the military. And
Did you open up to him?
I alluded to some things,
Yeah.
but I had never come out and said anything.
Yeah. You hadn't really opened up about your whole story until you started telling me like 3 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you felt safe enough with him to allude and to be honest about some of the struggles.
I did.
Yeah. Did you talk about like even the lack of like privacy in Korea?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
did. Yeah. It was a lack of privacy. It was just the all around general disrespect, you know. And Americans are funny because we have such a sense of entitlement. When we're in somebody else's country, we're the visitor, and we expect people to like cater to us.
Yes.
It's so backwards.
How did you
know?
experience that?
Just Americans just in Korea, right? Just expecting things to be given to them, not adapting to the culture, not trying to adapt to the culture, not intermingling with these amazing Korean soldiers, right? Learning from them and their army and what they had to do. And their service is mandatory. They have to do that in their country.
Wow.
You know, and so there's a different mindset behind their military. And then you have the whole North Korea thing, right?
Totally.
Where
Constant threat.
they're constantly fighting for their lives to hope that they stay where they're at. You know, so it's just a different mindset.
So you start experiencing this father figure experience. And any faith coming in yet?
I remember him looking at me and just saying, you know, I'm glad that God has brought you here to be my admin, because he's like, I've never worked with a female. He's like, and I was the only applicant that had applied for the job. And he's like, we normally get so many applicants. Like, people kill to want to work for a general.
Yeah.
He's like, and we got one. And you were a corporal. And you were a baby NCO, and you were a female.
Wow.
He's like, I was very skeptical of you until you came in and had an interview. And he ended up pinning me sergeant. He put my rank on when I got promoted.
Fun.
So, yeah.
So he said God brought you, but did that open you up to God at all?
It
Or were you
did.
still, it did. Okay.
It did. It was hard because a lot of the churches were in Korean
Yeah.
there. So it was hard to get plugged in because a lot of faith and ministry was at a Korean perspective. And so being part of the culture but not being so submerged that you lose your faith was really hard.
Yeah.
And then you're around people that just have no faith.
No faith.
Or you can't understand what they're saying. So it's hard to minister to them. So I was at a very dead point in my life in Korea. It was after all this had happened, I feel like I finally got a chance to process.
Yeah.
But through that, I had gotten promoted to a sergeant, to a real NCO. I had graduated college through this pain and this hurt.
Yeah.
I had paid off all my debt, and I was finally feeling at a point where I was stable coming out of all this trauma.
Wow.
So I ended up extending for another year. I was only supposed to do a 1-year tour, and I loved it so much. I traveled. I saw Thailand. I saw Japan. Really wanted to go to Australia because it was only a 4-hour flight,
Yeah.
but never got the chance to do that. It was really rewarding.
Sweet season.
Yeah.
And you worked for the general for 2 years?
Mhm.
Wow. So then, do you feel like God was softening you then to come to Campbell?
I do.
Okay.
I feel like he put me so far away from my family that I had no choice but to just face my demons and just work through this. Because if he had kept me stateside, I would have been involved in my parents' mess
Yeah.
and focused on that. And I would have been so distracted on that, I wouldn't have time to process what I was going through. So I think God separated me and got me out of the way so he could work.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you come to Campbell. You experienced the Sylvester brief,
I did.
and then you came to Engage.
So at that time, I was at DeVarty, Division Artillery.
Yep.
We call it DeVarty. It's Division Fires. And so from there, I had gone through a lot of, you need to go to air assault school.
Yeah.
You need to be this and be that. And there's a lot of no nonsense. And I'm coming back pretty terrified because it's completely different than what I just had 2 years in.
Totally.
I was working a chill job, being an admin, driving a 3-star general.
Yep.
So I'm thrown back into the workforce and I feel so alone. I'm like, I can't relate to these people. They don't care about me.
Yep.
These things are happening and I don't fit here. And I'm just dealing with this and every day just feels worse and worse and worse.
And what are you doing every day?
Going to work, going to the gym, coming home, and sitting in my barracks room because I didn't want to be around people.
Yeah.
So I isolate and you lick your wounds and you thrive in isolation, which is the opposite of what God wants for us. So going through that, I was like, wow, this is pretty lame. Like Friday nights and Saturday nights, everyone's out in Nashville on Broadway and I'm sitting in my room doing laundry.
Yeah.
Like there's more than this.
Yes.
So I got the text on the platform from Engage and decided to go. I think it was on Thursdays at the time. I don't think it had moved to Fridays yet.
Okay.
And I had ended up going and I was like, wow. I walked into the building and like I felt God. I was like, I feel presence here and it's not a bad presence. Like I walked in, I was so welcomed. There was hot food.
Yep.
I was accepted in. Sylvester greeted me by name. He remembered my name from the brief. I felt welcomed. I felt like I had found family.
Yeah.
And I sat and just listening to the message and the worship, I was like, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Who was preaching?
Sylvester.
Sylvester.
I don't remember what it was on, but
Yeah.
I was at the time where I needed to be there to hear it. And I did. And I just consistently started going.
Yeah.
Started going to Warrior Wednesdays, the Warrior Zone. First it was at the PX. We would start to go. I remember you were there a couple times. It was a smaller group
Yeah.
and we started going.
Eating Qdoba.
Yeah. Our burritos. Yeah. And so from there we moved to the Warrior Zone and it just kept growing.
Yep.
Kept going, just kept attending. And then that led into me starting to go to church. And I was like, okay, I had some church hurt in the past just because it was very, church is not about the building, it's about the people. And I was told if you drink, you can't go to church. You have tattoos, you can't go to church. I've been asked to leave churches before.
Sure.
Because my tattoos are exposed. And so I was like, that's not how it should be. And so I had some church hurt. So I started going back to church. So now 3 times a week, I'm growing, right? I'm growing. My faith is growing. I'm blossoming.
You're going to Bible study on Wednesdays, you're worshiping on Fridays, and you're going to church on Sundays.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you start this healing process from abusive dad, assault, rape? Like, how did that start to unfold?
I got tired of my own crap.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing? I have a college degree. Like, why am I sitting here making these decisions? You know, God has so much more for me.
Yeah.
And so through that, I kept going and I kept praying. I was calling out to God and I was like, I'm dead. You know, I've had a spiritual suicide in my life and I'm dead. So
When you say spiritual suicide, it means like I'm done with God.
I gave up.
I gave up on God. Yeah.
Yeah. So that started to grow my faith and then I started to tell Sylvester I wanted to get more involved. And I was like, this feels right to me. And I told Sylvester, I was like, I feel deep down like this is where I'm supposed to be with this group. And so he started involving me more. I would start to do announcements. I would start to kind of lead these groups on my own. At Warrior Wednesday, he would let me kind of run. And from there, it just grew.
Yeah.
And it grew. And I wanted to be that person for someone to talk to. You know, like I never had that female to confide in and pour into. And in ministry, it's hard. And in the army, it's hard because we're such a minority that you can't trust men. You just can't trust men. And if you do trust men, they don't understand. And so I want to be that person that makes the difference in someone's life as a female. So
How did the retreat make an impact on you?
I let a lot of things go.
Yeah. Because every year we do like an annual retreat
Yeah.
focused
right.
on trauma, spiritual healing, emotional healing, all that kind
Right.
of stuff. Were you able at that retreat to start to kind of process some of these things that you've been through? Tell me about that.
So I had actually found my journal from the retreat a few days ago and
Yeah.
flipping through the notes, and all the notes are talking about my dad. Because we break down our childhood, right? We
Yeah.
break down why we are this way because of how we were raised and our past and our background. And just all my notes are about my dad, about my childhood growing up. I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel listened to, which everyone's like, you're such a loud and energetic person. And a lot of the times it's because I'm overcompensating because I was never listened to.
Yeah.
I was never told to speak. So it's one of those things where this retreat was it poured so much into me. We worked with horses. And that was so great, you know, knowing my past working with horses and the connection that I have with them. And
Wow.
just sitting there, like you're looking at the horse and it was just like an out of body experience. Like this horse understood this heartbreak and this trauma. And you're just looking at this horse and you're petting it and just something so big and powerful trusts you, you know.
Wow.
It was just like eye-opening.
So up until that point, you know, before starting to get out and before kind of the next phase, what impact did Engage Your Destiny have on your life?
I came back to Jesus. I made a commitment to purity. You know, you don't have to be a virgin, but you can be pure with the person that you marry. Made a promise to God. And so through that, I have felt like the more and more I refine myself through God, the more I'm able to hear him. I feel closer to him because I feel more vulnerable enough to listen to what he's saying. And Engage Your Destiny has impacted my life in the way where I have a family now. And now it's like I'm so excited to go to Bible studies and to pour into these people and to see these females and connect with these female soldiers, you know, and not just the female soldiers, but also the wives. The spouses feel so alone. And for a while, you're in the military and you're like, oh, it's a military spouse, like, oh,
Yeah.
they think they're, big and bad and they serve too. And there's this whole stigma.
When they haven't served.
And then you just, right. But there's a level of hurt there that they have.
Totally.
Because their spouse is gone all the time.
Yep.
They're left raising kids. They're left working. They're left, so on a different level, you can connect with that just being a female.
Yep.
Not walking in the path that we think we should be walking in, but walking in that season that we're meant to be walking in.
Yeah.
And so it's been, Engage Your Destiny has impacted my life so much. I've been able to start unpacking this trauma and working through this hurt and this heartbreak and just being able to grow. It's the biggest thing.
It's been fun to watch your life kind of unfold as you've continued to heal. And it felt like maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, like you were hesitant, like you were holding back something. Like there was this uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I don't really experience that much anymore.
Yeah.
There's much more, like there's an assurance in you that God's working out.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because this last Friday I actually spoke on that. I gave my testimony in about 5 minutes on the call that I felt I've had in my heart.
Yeah.
And how Engage has uplifted me through that, because I've told my mom, getting out of the military, it's a scary time, transition, and you don't know what you're supposed to do. And I told her, I said, I feel done with the Army, but I don't feel done with the military yet.
Yeah.
And I can't put my finger on why, but I feel like somehow, some way I'm going to be involved with soldiers and help make a difference. And I could not figure it out.
Yeah.
And now here I am, and I'm like, that's what God was pulling on my heart.
Fun. So to set the stage a little bit, you were feeling like I'm done with the Army, but I'm not done with the military.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to get out, and you applied for how many jobs?
Probably about 40. Made a LinkedIn, made a Army resume, made a personal resume.
Yep.
Just took all these classes to help. I mean, this is the only job I've had for 8 years. How do I act as a civilian, you know? And so I spent dedicated a lot of time to that. And I remember I was sitting in a Warrior Wednesday and I was only female. And it was like, God gave me this vision of like, you're going to impact the females because this is where I have you right now. And it was just all men. And you were there that day. And Sean was there that day. And I was like, Ben, like, this is what I have to do. This is like, I feel this. Like, how do we make this happen? And you were like, well, this is fun.
Yeah.
And
well, it was cool because you came up to me and we were just having conversations about, looking for somebody, right? For some of the new bases that are opening up.
Yeah.
And then, I walked into Warrior Wednesday that day, having a phone call of, we need to start looking for, we need to start thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And then you came up to me and said, hey, do you guys have any needs?
Yeah.
Are you looking to hire anybody? And it was like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So that was a full circle moment, as a leader of an organization, and to kind of watch the whole experience. So that was super fun.
Yeah.
But also, I was, because right now you are interning, full-time internship. It's going to turn into a full-time position in August, at Fort Campbell. And I have a friend named Matthew Tisthammer, and he's the executive pastor at New Life Church out in Colorado, which is one of the biggest churches in the country. We got like 9 campuses and like 20,000 people, right?
Yeah.
So he's the executive pastor. I mean, he's the guy that sits underneath the lead guy, right?
Yeah.
And I met Matthew probably 7 years ago when I was doing more events with churches to reach, veterans and military. And I had reached out to New Life Church and I was like, hey, do you guys have, a military pastor? And they said, yeah, we've got this brand new one. His name's Matthew. Why don't you give him a call?
Yeah.
So I call this guy, and Matthew never served in the military. And I'm like, why is this guy in this position?
Yeah.
He has no military experience.
Yeah.
But the guy was amazing.
Really?
And he was soft and loving and such an incredible pastor and prophetic. And I remember just questioning, why are you in this? But whatever. Hey, we became friends.
Yeah.
And then I was out there, a month ago, because we're launching our 5th location in Fort Carson.
Praise God.
And he went from military pastor at a church that has 100 pastors to now being number 2 in command, like Joseph, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, I'm willing to bet that someone in leadership at that church saw this young man and said, this guy is going to become something. Don't waste talent, for lack of a better word. Find something for him.
Yeah.
Right? And they brought him on.
Yeah.
And look at how that turned out.
Yeah.
And he's an incredible leader.
Yeah.
And I felt the Lord kind of speaking to me and showing me something through that, like, don't waste potential.
Yeah.
You know, the word talent can be a little demeaning, but like, don't waste potential. Don't waste potential talent.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was just like, well, we don't have something for it. We're going to find something.
Yeah.
And then now, you know, you are sitting under great leadership at Fort Campbell. You're getting trained up in how to do all things, engage your destiny.
Yeah.
And we've got potential opportunities in Colorado, potential opportunities at Fort Riley in Kansas, and on and on and on. So as you have now started really a full-time ministry position as an internship that'll turn into a full-time position, how has your experience been working with people and actually doing ministry?
I don't think that there's anything more rewarding than being in ministry. It's hard. Like I will do a Friday night and you know, my cup is so full, but I sleep for 8 hours after that.
Oh,
You're drained,
exhausting,
right?
yeah.
But it's a good type of drained.
Yeah.
And being able to advocate for women and pour into these men and like it's so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling. And I have women that I never thought I would be friendships with. And I'm building genuine connections with these women. And Sean's wife actually pulled me aside on Friday leaving, and she's like, do you see half these people here at our engaged night are women? She's like, I've never seen that at any event I've gone to.
Yep. That is rare.
And she's like, I think it's partly because of you. Just making these connections and letting these women know that they're not alone through their traumas, you know, and not just the spouses, but also the active duty people. I had a female, we did the MRT brief, and this was a couple weeks after I told you. And she heard me speak about it at the end of the MRT brief about how I had been sexually assaulted and I had gone through a lot of bullying and isolation in the Army. And we're in the middle of coffee. We're in the middle of a conversation, and she stops and she's like, can I talk to you outside? And I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, you okay? She's like, yeah. She's like, well, I'm 19. She's like, and I was raped at my last duty station. She's like, before I came here, this is a compassionate reassignment. She's like, and I just want to ask you how you got through it and what you did.
So what's a compassion reassignment?
It's where you have a traumatic life event and
Like getting raped?
Or you're going through a divorce, or just something has happened that you need more stability on, and you can request a duty station location change.
Yeah.
It's rare that it happens, but obviously this was big enough if she moved.
Yeah.
I was PCSing. I got lucky, you know. But to be away from that person and have to change duty stations and uproot your life because of what they've done to you, it's awful.
Yeah.
And so she had the courage and the strength and the confidence to come to me. And I feel like if I had never come to you and told you that, and I had never been bold about asking you, hey, what can I do on this team?
I want a job.
She never would have had somebody to speak to about that. She's 19 years old and she's going through this. And I was like, it's awful what happened to me, but if I could have it happen to me and not have it happen to anyone else, I would pick that.
Yeah.
Because of what it did to me. And so she's like, you know, I'm scared to go to therapy. I haven't told anyone, a lot like me, you know, and I was like, that sparked something in me. And I was like, well, maybe there's a way I can get trained, right, to provide sexual assault counseling to these women, right? And so now I'm looking at starting my master's in counseling for these people to be able to help them and give them a biblical perspective on how you get through these events. Because she was, I mean, I could tell, like, in her eyes, like, this was traumatic for her.
For sure. She's still healing. She's running. Yeah.
And I told her, I said, I went to God. I was like, it's the only way you're going to get through it. I was like, now it's a part of my testimony. I wish it never happened, but I'm kind of glad it did.
Yeah. Wow.
in the sense.
What a place to be.
Yeah, right. Like in the sense where now I'm able to talk to other people about it, and I'm able to talk about it, and I'm able to use this as it's freedom. Christ is freedom. Christ is not bondage. And so using this now, I'm able to have it be part of my testimony, and that's so rewarding. And I'm so glad I was able to connect with her.
Yeah. As you have been through what you've been through and experienced just so much brokenness, and there is such a suicide issue in the military, do you think that the sexual assault that's taking place is, the stats right now that 1 in 4 women are sexually assaulted? I would argue it's higher in the military.
Yeah.
Do you think that's contributing to suicidal ideation in the military?
I do. Yeah. Absolutely. And the reason why I say that is because the isolation that comes with that. The fact that you feel like you can't trust people and you don't have a voice and things are happening and people don't respect you. That feels like a better option. And I always think suicide is a last ditch effort for a lot of people because they go through the isolation. They think no one cares. They think no one hears their story. They think that no one can advocate for them. And so that's what they result to. And I'm so thankful that I was never in that position. I experienced the isolation. And probably if I had never gone to that MRT brief and Engage had never been part of my life, maybe I would have been there. Maybe I wouldn't be sitting here. Because it was hard living with that and closing my eyes and seeing that happen and having nightmares of that. And now using, sex as a one and done, right? Throw away, like there's no beauty in that. Like that's awful. And I never want anyone to feel like that. And so I can understand why suicide is so high, especially for somebody that's a minority in the Army in active duty.
Do you think a lot of the women that are struggling with sleeping around, so to speak, or hopping around, that they have been the part of some type of sexual assault?
Oh, I 100% believe it. Some people are just like that.
Yeah.
But then there's other people where I think, kind of like me, they see that as, what's the beauty in this? Because it was taken.
Yeah.
Right? If it was taken and didn't matter to anyone that it happened, that's the mindset. It's a very messed up mindset, but it's, I was there. I thought that way. So I was like, well, if this can mean nothing to people, then it means nothing to me,
Hey guys, thank you so much for being a part of the Engage Your Destiny family and listening to the podcast. I want to share with you an exciting new development as God has opened the doors for us to launch our program at Fort Carson, Colorado this summer. Fort Carson, Colorado is the home of the 4th Infantry Division and the 10th Special Forces Group. These are some of the most elite warriors in the world. So we are expanding our program and we need your help. Just for $44 a month, you can support a soldier, feeding them, loving on them, getting the material support, giving them the opportunity to go to Engage Your Destiny retreats and events to bring healing into their life and transformation to their faith. So I want to invite you into this, to join the team and to join the fight as we are expanding our program. And we need to remember that those who are willing to die for their country deserve an opportunity to know the God who died for them. So join us in this and let's advance this ministry together. Is suicide in the military as bad as we think it is?
Oh, 100%. I think it's worse than what people realize. I had a soldier, it was his birthday. He was coming home from dinner and got T-boned at a stoplight and died. And that soldier, 2 weeks before that, had come to me suicidal. And that sat with me because I was like, he got a chance to get this help. He got a chance to speak out before something happened to him. Maybe that was his moment that he needed to be free. And I think it's awful, the suicide rate. I think the Army's like the second highest branch with suicide rates, and I think that should speak for something. Maybe it's the quality of the supplies that the soldiers get. Maybe it's the isolation. Maybe it's a fear. Maybe it's, I don't know. It's horrible, and I'm so glad I was never in that position that badly to do that. I wholeheartedly believe though that if I had stayed in that area of isolation, and loneliness, and I let my trauma run my life, that I probably would have been there. And it probably would have been alcohol that killed me. I was already having liver issues, and I was already at 24 having issues I shouldn't be having. And that's probably what would have happened to me.
Because you were drinking that heavily.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest contributor to suicide in the military?
Probably just the negativity around you. Everyone's very negative in the Army. I hate this. Why am I here? What are we doing? What's my purpose? It's hot out. Just there's no light. And there's no personability with people in the military. They're just robots. And it's, I don't know, I just think the darkness is so bad that it just contributes to the alcoholism and the suicide. And, you'd be shocked at the number of people that pop out on drug tests. And it blows my mind that people even do that in the military, because I think it's just darkness.
Yeah. Do you think what Engage Your Destiny is doing could actually change the military?
Oh, absolutely. It changed my life.
How? Not to you specifically, we know your story, but how
Yeah.
could what we're doing actually change the military?
It gives people a sense of family, the connections that they build. When they PCS, they're able to say, hey, Fort Campbell made a difference in my life. Like I'm talking to a soldier now, his name is Dakota, and he was out of the military for 9 years, came back in. He said up until he was at the MRT brief and heard our testimonies, he was running from God. And he came out to coffee with us, and he's been at Engage in Bible studies, and he told me, he's like, I would not be here. Like, the pull from God was there, and I was ignoring it. And I would not be here if I had not heard what you guys do. And so I know it's making an impact. Maybe not as fast as we want, but it's definitely making an impact to people's lives, especially young people, especially females. This is a great program for people that struggle with addiction and just trauma. And you go, and my biggest thing is you just don't feel judged.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're better than anyone else. You don't feel like you're judged. You feel welcomed, but you feel that genuine connection of people. And these testimonies are real, and these people have served like you've served, and they've been through what you've been through, sometimes worse in different aspects. And you don't know that looking at someone. You never know their story. And the fact that God brings all of us together to use our stories for each other, like, it just blows my mind, So
Amazing.
Engage Your Destiny is going to be rampant.
We're all believing for that. One closing thought.
Okay.
As you look at this next phase of your life, in a kingdom kind of perspective, what are you trusting the Lord for?
Heaven to be crowded. I want the parking lot to be so full where we have Engage that we need to move buildings.
Yeah.
Like, I want women to start speaking up about getting assaulted and raped in the military. I want men to start speaking up about addictions. I want God to move so much in these military bases that it's habit for people to say, I'm going to Bible study on Friday nights. Like, I can't explain it, and that was my thing is I on Friday night, I was complaining a little bit because I was like, oh, I gotta go set more tables up. And then I stopped and I was like, I have to go set up more tables. Like, this is awesome.
Good attitude check, yeah.
That I have to set up more tables, right? 12 tables we had set up. We had so many people. I was like, good. Let me set all of them up.
Yeah. Let me have to get here 3 hours early to set up tables.
Like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Like, this is God working. So.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for telling your story.
Of course.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. I want to pray for you.
Okay.
Father, thank you for Anna. I ask, Lord, that you would bless her life. I ask for your favor to be upon her, God, and for you to use her story to do exceedingly abundantly greater than her I could ask, won't think, or imagine. God, give her favor. Bring the right relationships and people into her life at the right time. God, lead her exactly where you want to plant her and you've anointed her for. And God, I pray for her desires for what we're all believing for on military bases to come to be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.